Welcome back. We're here for the Between Dancing on Strings, episode Lucky 13. Yee. Where last we left off, we had the hunters come back from a very exciting night phase to a partially mangled door, which had a lot of fist prints in it and a very delicate invitation to an autumn masquerade. And then a tall, handsome gentleman uh, steps up to the door and asks if this is Hargrave House. Um, the uh, Damon's player will not be here for this evening, so Damon will be kind of taking a fade on tonight's activity. On today's activities, so that's not a problem. But we're just going to continue onward and then see how far we get. Okay, so again, continuing onward, I think, yes, this handsome gentleman, again, will ask you all, those of you that are here, if this is Hargrave House. And then at the same time, the door will be wrestled open by a very worried Hattie, whose veil is now back down over her face, as she says in a breathless voice, her usual wispy voice, Kemuel, Kemuel, I, I was so worried that there was someone at the door. Someone at the door. Oh, do I know you? And she's referring to the stranger that is on your doorstep. And this person will kind of tip his hat and say, I am Bert Broadswell. If this is Hargrave House, is it all right if I come in? I have business for you all.
Then you had better step inside.
He nods, and he will move past you and past Hattie. Um, and she looks, you can see, sort of see, like, behind her veil, like, she kind of, like, tilts her head as if she's trying to remember where she has seen him before. And then, I mean, do you show him any place? Like, you show him the foyer, the library? Like, like, do you have a sitting room out there? Like, just give me,
I'm sure
give,
we have like a reception room
Mhm.
off the hallway in the
We are in Belgrave Square. There's definitely a reception room.
sure. No, absolutely. And, yes, and he will, again, come in very politely and just say, um, thank you. I, I'm very sorry for disturbing you all. Uh, Something strange has happened, and this may be of no concern to anyone but my humble self. But may I sit? I just need to tell you what I found out.
There are seats here for sitting, and we have welcomed you in. Why would you assume you could not sit down?
And he actually, like, will kind of do a double take and look at you again and then realize it's like, oh, you are different. So, out of character. Sorry, I meant to give a few conditions. So we'll deal with this, like, after I do the introduction. But Kemuel, you will be describing how you scarred your reflection for getting that kiss from the Twilight Shadows. Uh, uh, Marybelle, your condition from getting the dress, the nurse's dress from Hazel Beaumont is seem a little bit more human? Question mark. And for Val, you are given the condition witness to the retreating shadows from when you saw that glimmer in um, Kemuel's eye, as well as, like, watching that little bit that was kind of like seemed like it was worming its way um, from behind the crown that you suspect may still be in there. Who knows? Okay.
just a quick follow-up before we get back into the scene.
Mhm.
So my spark of life move, whenever I do something distinctly human, like tell a lie, destroy something for pleasure, or etc., I mark a box. Would that also, since I'm seeming human, be caused to mark a box? I know I definitely told some lies.
Then yes, you definitely should mark one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I forgot about that move.
No, that's fine. Oh, well, this perfect opportunity. There you go. Alrighty. Okay. And I was going to give Damon something, so let me condition. All right. And I'll mark that in for later. Okay. So, yeah. Back in the scene. Um, I'm sorry. It's just polite. I didn't want to seem to be presumptuous. And then he will take a seat. And then Hattie will suddenly remember, I remember now. And then she'll say excitedly to you, Kemuel, but she almost wants to embrace you, take your hand in her excitement, but yet not touch you because she's still very tentative around you. I remember seeing him perform. He was wonderful in some of the productions that he's been in. And he'll kind of give her like a look over his very broad and handsome shoulder and say, "Oh, you compliment me. Thank you." And he will continue on with his story. The doorbell, the bell at the door of Hargrave House will suddenly ring. Does anyone go to answer it?
I'll answer it.
Okay. The door is still slightly mangled, so it's not quite closed. I think you'll see, like, when you go approach the door, that outside is someone in a greatcoat and a tall hat. If it was Val who answered the door, Val might recognize their friend from their, like, squire-type friend from the College of Arms.
But I don't recognize them.
No. I mean, but this person will kind of like look from their, from their high collar and their coat. Excuse me, is Sir Gys-Otteray in?
Hello, I'm
Hello.
Marybelle. It's a pleasure to meet you. And
Pleasure.
there's the very mechanical, awkward curtsy.
And they'll do a bow. They don't tip their hat, but I mean they will do a bow.
May I ask your name?
You may call me Noble.
Greetings, Noble. You're looking for Val?
That is their given name, yes.
In that case, we have visitors at the moment. Could you please wait a moment while I see if they are free? And
it is not
I close the
necessary.
door.
And that's what they're doing as they're trying to tell you. It's like, it's not necessary. Yeah, and you close the door on them. Because they have a folder in there, an envelope in their hand.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get Val. There's a visitor.
It's fine.
That's the polite thing to do.
That's hilarious. So, so as you come back, and like Kemuel, it's like, you're listening to Hattie effuse over, Bert, and he does introduce himself as this is one Bert Broadswell, and he will tell you about his friend, a beautiful actress, Penelope Levy, last seen at the Society Obscura, an exclusive secretive club for wealthy photography enthusiasts, located in a converted townhouse in Kensington. Now, normally a missing actress doesn't elicit any kind of attention from any place, especially like something like Scotland Yard. She had her picture taken by this place, and he has that photo. And he shows it to you all. Okay. So if it's crossed off, it means it is marked, yeah?
Correct.
What are you looking for?
cosmic passage. Kemuel, when you see the photo, something unusual about the photo unmistakably confirms it was taken by this like this strange camera that he starts to talk about.
To Kemuel's eyes, looking at it closely, after staring for a few seconds, the sort of layers of depth in the photograph start to have kind of a parallax effect where they're coming forward and receding, and there's almost maybe like a pulsing of the brightness of the is it a sepia look type, or there's like a pulsing of the bright and dark, almost as though you could fall into the portrait. That's quite an extraordinary photograph.
Indeed. And I have not seen her since. Now, you may suspect, oh, she had just run off. But I tell you, she was more than just my friend. I know it's ridiculous to believe just that, but she and I met on the stage. She was playing Rosalind, and I, the bumpkin, William. She was radiant. I never did get the lead in that production, but I did manage to become the Orlando, her Orlando in life. And now she's gone, without a trace, as if she were never more than a sweet waking dream. I'm no mere lover. I'm someone who knows if she had just flitted off to take someone else into her bed, or her fancy, there's something wrong. And I need your help. I need all of your help to find her.
Then you shall have it, sir.
Yes. And looking at you, Marybelle.
I'm quite sorry for your loss, but Val, you have a visitor. At the front door.
Did they give a name, Marybelle?
Yes, they said their name is Noble.
Does that mean anything to me, lads?
You didn't give me a name for your squire person over at.
Oh, but I mean, if that
Lines.
is their actual name, then
I mean,
yeah.
you know, it can be if you want. Just
Sure.
It could be the code name. I mean, like if you want. So,
Mm.
but yeah, that person is at the door.
If you'll excuse me a moment, sir, I don't mean to imply I'm not taking this matter seriously, but I must briefly attend to this. I'll go see what Noble wants.
Of course, of course. Any help that you can provide. I was given your name by other folks who, well, we hear the things in the theater, and you hear, like, you know, him talk about, like, you know, some acquaintances that have had, like, other theater people talk about some escapades of people talking about Hargrave House, or, like, you know, the goings-on of people from Hargrave House. So, you know, you guys have a rep. But anyway, when you get to the door, Val, which is still kind of like slightly open, but like still a little bit difficult to you know, get open. Yeah, Noble, or whatever you want to call him, is standing out there in his coat and looking a little bit sheepish. I'm so sorry to disturb you, sir. I was trying to give this envelope, but your colleague had shut the door on me, but this is the information that you had asked for.
Thank you so much. I do apologize for my colleague Marybelle is quite in her own world at times.
It's fine. I've had worse from other servants at grander places, so I'm a little used to such treatment. But in that missive should be everything that you need regarding your initial inquiry on Atticus Whately. At least anything that I could find.
I appreciate it very much. I'm sure this will be most useful.
Of course, sir. Please call again if you need further help.
I shall.
And this time, he will tip his hat and then walk back.
I will tuck the folder under my arm for later examination and return to Mr. Broadswell, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, I mean, you can continue to ask him any questions if you so choose, but for the most part, I mean, like, he'll be just, grateful that Hargrave House will be looking into this. I mean, he'll give you the address for the Society Obscura in Kensington, their townhouse, as well as like the details of like what they did, like when they went, or at least like when Penelope went, because they had invited her, being so beautiful, to have her photograph taken by this camera. He didn't get any real particulars because he didn't go with her, but I mean, like, they were just so effusive over, having her immortalized by this camera. So, and, Hattie was just kind of, again, complimenting him and her performances, like, the ones that she had seen when he was on the boards.
So you say this was a photographic society?
Yes. Yes, as far as I understand it, it's some sort of club. Exclusive, secretive, wealthy. They are all enthusiasts for photography, specifically around, what do they call them? Oh, they call them something specific. As far as I understand it, they have rooms specifically with props and backgrounds, almost like stage sets, except they don't perform, as far as I understand it. Again, I wasn't there, so, but yeah, they yes.
Is this sort of thing common among your profession? Is this
No.
typical for...
Well, it seems that some of the members had seen Penelope in one of her last performances, and decided that she would make a perfect subject for one of the photographic sessions in one of the staged rooms. I don't know. I'm so sorry.
And this photograph is from that session?
Yes. Yes.
How did it come into your possession?
It was when I was trying to call upon Penelope. I went to her rooms, and I found it. It was among her things.
But you have not seen her since she went?
No.
To have her photograph taken?
No.
Most curious.
Her understudy has been covering for her last performances. That's why they hadn't said anything about her disappearance. And of course...
Kemuel, you are particularly beautiful. Have you not had your picture taken at the Society Obscura?
Our thoughts drift in the same direction, Marybelle. We would very much like to have our portrait made. Bert, was it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Our companion, Madame Helmley,
Yes.
speaks highly of your skills as a thespian. We ourselves recently took a starring role in a performance on the stage. And we would like to be immortalized in a portrait as well.
Kemuel, let us not forget why we are proposing to do this. The purpose is to find Mr. Broadswell's friend.
Yes, certainly.
Are you not
The
worried about
purpose.
disappearing as well?
We rarely worry. Perhaps you said that your inamorata had her portrait made, and now she has vanished. Perhaps if we have our portrait made, we will find her.
That gives me some
At the
hope.
very least, we will have a portrait.
Which is hardly the purpose of the exercise, but indeed, it does seem that this could be a fruitful avenue.
You will send word then, if you find her.
You will hear at once.
Here is my card. I will anxiously await any news of finding Penelope. And again, I thank you. I don't have much. Tickets to my next show, I suppose. I mean, anything I can do.
Yes,
I am-
don't worry, Bert. Penelope will be foremost in our thoughts.
Stands and he
His-
will bow.
I'll politely
And
show him to
speaking-
the door.
And speaking for myself, any form of recompense is quite unnecessary. I will be happy to undertake this task.
Oh, well, speaking for myself, I have recently become familiar with the theater, and I would quite enjoy seeing one of your productions.
And he like shows you a dazzling smile and will say, that can be arranged when Penelope is found.
Of course.
And then he'll take his leave. And, Hattie will actually, turn her veil upon all of you and say, oh, that would be lovely if we could see one of his shows and find his lady love. That sounds amazingly romantic.
Let us first ensure that we can find her. That must be our primary concern.
The envelope that was handed to you by your squire contact is crinkling underneath your arm, Valentine.
After Bert has gone, I will sit down and open it.
So it basically gives you some research that he had done. It's on the so-called Whately camera, one of the first wet plate type cameras ever produced. People who are photographed by the camera have been known to disappear without a trace. An American scientist and philosopher, Atticus Whately, studied the camera for a number of years and proposed that it was some sort of entity, a demon, or even a god, and that the people who went missing had been transported into another dimension. Whately advanced an idea called the fragrant void, a sort of proto-Earth that existed in near total darkness and that was home to powerful entities who were banished by God on the first day of creation. He believed some of those entities could still operate in our world, hidden from view, perhaps through common objects, like the camera. While his research couldn't prove the existence of the fragrant void, he did manage to show how the camera caused people to be whisked away to another dimension. Unfortunately, and this is part of the report, unfortunately, before he could present his work for review, Atticus Whately's notes were destroyed and the camera went missing.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Isn't it, though?
I look up from reading these papers, and I'll say to the others, I made inquiries about one Atticus Whately based upon something we found while investigating that King in Shadows play. It appears that the case that Mr. Broadswell has brought before us may be connected in some way.
Out of character. This brings up the question and some opportunities. So, your question is, what circumstances will cause someone photographed by the camera to disappear? That is a complexity 8. You're going to resolve this threat by reversing the process and bringing Penelope Levy back to this world. You can use the camera to transport yourself to the fragrant void and make contact with the entity there. Doing so gives you access to the custom move Void Walker, and I can explain more about that later on. Note, both opportunities unlock when the question is answered, and both can be pursued. So, that's exciting. So exciting. But it's a lot of clues you got to collect for this. So I really do enjoy this threat so much. And my version of the fragrant void may be slightly different from how it was presented when we did it. So anyway, have fun.
Is there a mask for this thread?
I don't believe so.
Okay, just checking.
Nope. Nope. So no saving. Yeah. But yeah. So, and you have, as a reminder, you all have three active threats on the board. Emerald Orchid, which you're still working on. Either a complexity 4, who has been reproducing the orchid and how can it be stopped from spreading? Or a complexity 6, how is the orchid controlling its host and how can these effects be cured? Or the complexity 8, how can the secret properties of the orchid be harnessed? You have 4 clues on the board. Spider Silk Seamstress, you can answer also a complexity 4. How is the creature ensnaring her victims? A complexity 6, what is the creature's true name? Or a complexity 8, what does the creature truly want? No clues on the board for that, which is why you got interrupted so rudely for night phase. And of course now Whately Camera, complexity 8. Okay? So, have fun. Day phase. You have conditions as well, so you can also start with some vulnerable scenes if you so choose. All right? What do you guys want to do? Lots to do.
Wow, there's a lot on the table. Yeah.
I know. I'm so happy for you, but also jealous.
However, speaking for Val, I think this latest case seems to be the most pressing.
Oh yeah, thank you for the reminder in chat. Yeah, the reminder is if you need to change your elective dawn questions, please do so you have some roleplay opportunities.
You know what? I think I want to check out some more of the Emerald Orchid thing because I'm feeling a little orchid brained right now. I have a condition that is covered in orchid spores, so I'd do it. However, I'm not totally sure where I want to go.
I mean, you can totally retread like where the others have gone for the Emerald Orchid as well if you want to. They've
Yeah.
already gone to the University of London, the Natural Sciences Department. Kemuel has already stumbled upon the Botanist Conservatory. That's hilarious. You've stumbled onto the Kew Gardens greenhouse, and then there's quite a few other places. A curiosity shop, the Lavender Terrace is fun.
Oh,
Private parlor, that sort of
I'm
thing.
gonna go check on those kids.
Oh yeah,
Those kids that I told them to destroy that orchid that they knew about. I'm gonna go see what they've done so far.
okay. Check on the kids. Okie dokie. Yeah, she's over at the Lavender Terrace. Yep. Oh wait, no, that was like Laura Bentley. Sorry, she was.
Yeah, Laura Bentley is the gardener slash like nanny for these kids, or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
their nurse or something.
Yeah. Well, I think
Or maybe she's their governess. I can't really remember.
Yeah, I think Miss Bentley has taken them out to check out the Lavender Terrace. So you may be meeting some other people today. Yeah. Okay. But what is Kemuel and Val doing today?
I think Kemuel would like to return to the Botanist Conservatory to check on his dear follower, the botanist. Unless Valentine needs assistance in some way with, or whatever they choose to do.
Yeah, I'm just thinking what I can do. If you're not going to do your photographic session yet, are you thinking we could do that in the night phase?
I was, or I would, well, I don't know, or
Don't
else
have to wait to night phase.
I wonder if they
Yeah.
could meet Valentine at the Society Obscura at some point. Unless we go
Maybe
there at night.
Maybe I could go there to provide information or suggest the photographing of Kemuel. To do a bit of subterfuge, act as your agent, as it were.
Oh yeah, that's brilliant.
Calling upon the Society Obscura, yeah? Oh, I know how you could do this. Kemuel, did you say that you were sending out, like you had your followers sending out all sorts of, like, little broadsheets? Or flyers of a sort to advertise that you were going to be at the House of Parliament for that last
Oh,
show?
yes, about the performance, yes.
Yeah, so
indeed.
if you want, I mean, like, you could have Val, like, take, several, 100 of those or whatever with your beautiful etched face on it, and then, like, take that over to the society.
Yeah, that's very much what I was thinking.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking of taking that many, but yeah.
Whatever. I mean, like, you know what I'm talking
copy.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. I think we got a plan. All right, cool. So before doing all of this, does anybody want to do any vulnerable scenes or just scenes? I don't care. I mean, like, any of that. Just remember, you have to have a vice in play, and whomever's vice it is just sets it up, and yeah.
I kind of like my conditions that I have right now. I think they're good role play fodder, so I'm going to keep them, but I'm happy to engage in a vulnerable scene if anybody else wants to clear a condition.
Same. Yeah, I'm not particularly bonded to any of my conditions. I do have 2, so if anyone wants to clear one, I'm happy to do a scene.
Likewise. the exact same thing. I'm happy to keep them, but if somebody really wants a vulnerable move, I'd be happy to
Well,
take it.
perhaps if I was thinking, perhaps if we are going to hatch this plan where Val is going to act as your agent, it would make sense for us to have a scene where we're kind of setting up expectations there.
And if it gets vulnerable, then a bonus.
Exactly. Yes.
I'd still prefer like
Yeah.
one of your vices to be in play, though.
Oh, we can do that. Yeah. What's Kemuel's again? Comforting the dying.
That's a little harder.
Yeah, I mean, mine is much easier to get into play.
I have a weird idea for how we could do mine, but I'd be happy to do yours.
Oh, you know
as
I
it's
love
much
your
more
weird
normal.
ideas, Mark. Come on now. Let me hear
Mm.
that.
So I think Kemuel breaks from the meeting and goes upstairs to their room. And we can just hear them sort of stomping across the floor. They come back down the stairs in a completely changed outfit from the sun robes. Now they are wearing a jet black, onyx black men's suit. But around the neck and at the shoulders and across the chest and down the back, there's sort of not a poncho, sort of a hybrid cape that is a wolf's pelt. And the head of the wolf sits, the ears, are at their clavicles, and the head of the wolf is at the nape of the neck, and the snout, pointing down their chest. And they are carrying just like a stack of like 300 of those copies of the broadsheet. On top is a skull. And as they step down, they step up to Valentine. Would you mind holding these for a moment?
Why, Kemuel? What do you have there?
Well, these broadsheets, we thought they might be a way to herald our impending arrival at the Society Obscura for our
I'm not sure I will need
photo
quite
session.
so many, but
well,
that is not.
We trust you, Valentine. However many you think are appropriate.
And the skull.
Yes. And they pick it up and gently stroke the cranium, run their fingers across the teeth. An acquaintance of ours, yes. We can't say that we knew him well, but we are given to understand he was a man of high standing in Her Majesty's government.
Indeed.
And they will kind of work their jaw. Isn't he beautiful, Valentine?
In a rather macabre way, I suppose. There is an elegance to the form.
Elegant. That's just the right word. Thank you for that, Valentine. Elegant. Do you feel like this friend of ours would make a nice addition here in the sitting room, adding to the elegance?
I'd rather think it may raise a few questions from certain visitors.
Questions are delightful. And they will sit the skull down on a side table or end table next to, maybe there's an oil lamp there, and they will pick up the oil lamp and say, That makes for a nice switch. We'll take this with us and leave our friend behind here.
Amazing. Nice callback. Conditions?
I definitely don't think I'm clearing witness to the retreating shadows, given
No.
what I've just observed Kemuel doing.
No. Kemuel.
Even if Val doesn't quite pick up on the...
Yeah, I don't think either one of those conditions really cleared.
If anything, I feel like you both doubled down on the conditions. It's like, damn.
We did it wrong.
You did it wrong. Or you, again, double down. Whoops. Oh, just so beautiful. So darkly beautiful. Ah. Oh, I don't know. These are like the GM wants popcorn moments. This is what I live for. Anyway. Any more tries? Tries for a vulnerable scene.
I think that's when Marybelle comes into the sitting room. They are ready to go out, which basically just means they're dressed in their regular outfit. But they have better boots on, I guess. I'm not really sure. Either way, you can tell that they are ready to go out. And they look at the skull that's placed there and say, "Ah, I say we have more decorations in the sitting room."
Yes, Kemuel is adjusting the tone.
Marybelle, what word would you use to describe our new friend here on the table?
I believe the word would be skull.
Skull. Just so. Exactly right, Marybelle. Our elegant skull.
Is it someone you know?
Someone we knew, not well, a recent acquaintance.
Well, I suppose it is normal to want to keep loved ones close to you, and thus acquaintances close as well.
Yes, this acquaintance sparks a happy memory for us.
Huh. In that case, I am glad to have it here. Aren't you, Val?
How recent an acquaintance, Kemuel?
A few weeks past, I believe.
And when you made
Strange.
this person's acquaintance, were they alive?
Yes.
I'd asked what happened to them, Mr. Robel.
They were rendered unconscious. They had been raving in the streets and cafe. And so we brought them back here to Hargrave House to attend to them. Sadly, they expired.
What happened to their skin?
Yes, it crumbled away. Like so much dust on the breeze.
That must have been a mess.
It was not elegant, but it was not mundane either.
Well, I suppose I shall be off. Toodaloo.
Perhaps next time, Kemuel, if someone's to die under your care, under this roof, you would be kind enough to inform the rest of us. before presenting us with their skull.
Thank you, Valentine. We will make every effort to honor that request.
I'm reassured to hear it.
Out of character, I just gotta say I'm very, very excited to see this Valentine Kemuel adventure where they have to somehow pretend to be like employer and make it work. I'm so excited for this.
This is gonna be a train wreck. Holy crap. Okay. This is gonna be great. Okay. Oh my god, you guys are so great. Okay. All right. So 2 pieces of housekeeping before we completely start day phase in earnest. Kemuel, please tell me how your reflection is scarred after you kissed the twilight shadows during the night phase.
Yeah, so this time we actually see the dark workshop where the broadsheet is printed. And we see placing type into the press with white, glassy, dead eyes, the blind print master. And then they step across the room to this really intricate, ornate, baroquely sort of embossed gold box and slowly open it up. And inside is the woodcut used to create the image on the front of the broadsheet depicting Kemuel as an angel of sorts. And as they start to bring it out of the box, as the printer touches it, the sides of the wood along the edges start to kind of crumble and split and fall away. And underneath, we can see what looks like obsidian. And the edges are sharp. And as the master printer picks it up, we see small slices on the tips of his fingers. And he brings it over and places it in the press. And we can see as he's arranging all the type, drops of blood falling from his fingers as he works and sort of flowing in amongst the type and into the grooves on the woodcut. And then we see the press slam down.
And the other part is Marybelle, your doll parts. What did you switch out to?
Oh, great question. So my doll parts now are, let's see where I'm at with my doll parts. I have 3 adapter keys so that now I can have 3 parts and 3 different keys. So I have a galvanic cardioverter, which is the one that gives me composure. It gives me more control over the energy that I conduct. And the adapter that I've chosen with that is I can remove my appendages and retain control of them. There's some other stuff that goes with that, but that's the basics. I have the quicksilver infused lingual apparatus, which is a waxen prosthetic organ threaded with veins of charged mercury. And this doll part operates the presence. I've chosen a adapter that's for that as well, which is I am a master ventriloquist, so I can throw my voice and mimic any sound.
Nice.
As long as it's something I've heard.
Ah, okay. But I mean,
and then oh, sorry.
Yeah. No. But it's basically going to be like the upgraded version from what you tried to do on 3 Mills Island factory.
Yeah.
Great.
So I also have the spectrographic optic sensors. These are my weird eyes. I can see things that most others cannot see. This one operates with sensitivity, and I'm going to hold off on telling you what adapter I chose for that because it's delicious, and I want it to be a surprise.
Okay, that's fine. That's a fun. All right.
Big shout out
Val,
to
you'll
Jack
have
Hargreaves for this playbook. It's super fun.
awesome, awesome, awesome. We're gonna see it. We're gonna see it. And Val, you don't have any specific anything activated like through day, yeah?
No.
Okay. Just want to make sure that I didn't forget any extra housekeeping or anything like that. Okay. So now we will be starting day phase in earnest. Let's go ahead and start with let's go ahead and start with Marybelle first. Okay. So Marybelle, you're headed off to check on those kids. I think
Less check on the kids and more see if they've succeeded in their task.
now specifically you wanted them to break that or to destroy that orchid that the one woman had, yeah?
Yes, I think she was their governess. That would be Laurel Bentley.
Mm-hmm. Yes. She had them grubbing in the dirt. Yeah, I think you go past by the one house and it looks like it's empty, and even worse is I think you'll see that all of the plot that the kids were grubbing in before, I mean, it's completely filled with anything and everything that you could possibly plant in the garden now. I mean, and then interspersed with some of these plants of every hue and variety, you do see like spots of gleaming green, as if like dust from the orchid has been scattered amongst them.
But there is no orchid in the garden.
No orchid in the garden, no.
Okay. Is there anybody about, or is the garden empty?
Garden is empty right now. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to dig up the garden.
Okay. This is straight information move with reason.
Oh, I did not take my dice. The dice. Yeah, I'm gonna see if there's anything in my personal quarters that'll be helpful.
Sure.
Oh, I don't have very many things, so I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna save that. So you said this is composure?
Reason?
Reason. I don't have. Okay, well, that's fine. That's a 7.
Okay. Digging up the garden.
The names of the kids were Mary, Colin, and Anne.
Thank you. I think you're digging around here in the garden, and some of these plants have been planted quite recently. Obviously, because I mean, like none of the most of these plants were not here like the last time you were here. It's as if like the kids have just like pretty much added to this garden, or Laura Bentley herself has like added to this garden since last you were here. So underneath this, this profusion of flora, you find what looks like a portrait. There is a portrait of several figures. Yeah, there's a portrait of several figures here. And these figures look like there are botanical motifs painted on them, like on their faces, on their hands, in green and gold, like filigree, like shining out from their, like outside of their clothing, as if the figures themselves in the portrait were caught mid-transformation between human and plant. And I will put all of this, paste this into the...
Oh, I think I already got it, so don't
got
worry.
It? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put the portrait in my pocket, of course. Yeah. And I think I'm going to stand up and I'm going to leave the garden destroyed as it is. I will dust off my hands on my apron because that's what it's for. And I'm going to try and wipe the dirt off, like Damon show me
Yep.
how to do that. And then I'm going to go into the house
Okay.
where Laurel Bentley lives.
Okay.
Or I will knock on the door. I'm not that rude. I will knock on the door first.
Okay. It's eerily silent in here.
Silent enough that I would pick up on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like there's
interesting.
nothing like human around. Like you'll hear rustling, as if like a breeze through leaves or what have you. But that's about all you pick up if you're just kind of like looking for someone.
Yeah, I think I'm just kind of going up the garden, up the path to the door.
Mm-hmm.
A little strange that it's so quiet. I've spent a lot of time in London and it's not usually quiet here. I think I will. I don't think Marybelle would think even to look into the windows first. I think I would just go up to the door and take the knocker and thwap thwap thwap.
Right. Yeah, you don't like nobody seems to be answering at the moment.
Oh, is it unlocked? I'm gonna try it.
Sure.
Yeah, I try the door.
Yeah.
And I think it creaks open.
Creaks open, sure.
Yeah. I poke my head in. Hello, I'm Marybelle. I'm a visitor. Hello. Is anyone here to greet me? So I succeed, but I don't succeed without a big complication.
Yeah. I think when you open the door, I don't think you noticed what was necessarily on the door handle entering the house or anything like that. But let's just say that the camera starts to pick up on the filter that's being used. So when you step into the house, like, it seems like there's a shaft of sunlight. Like maybe it's like kind of like very gold or what have you. But then it starts to get a green gold sheen as you go further in and try to ask, like, is anybody here? And then we realize it's like there's these lucid spores that are like floating as little motes in the light. And it starts to emit, they start to dance in the light streaming from the windows. And it starts to emit some kind of glow, pulsing. Now, whether it affects you the same as it would something humanly or humanoid, who
I don't
knows?
know. I do have that condition where I'm already covered in orchid spores.
Yeah. So let's give this a shot here. Hmm. It's for somebody that's human. It would be an intoxicating dream dust. Let's give it a day. Let's give it a day move and then see what it does for Marybelle. What do you think will go wrong?
I'm actually worried that it's going to interfere with my mechanical bits and I'm going to become stiff and weird. Yeah, I think that's what I'm worried will go wrong.
Okay.
Um, what am I rolling with?
Oof. I mean, considering it's the orchid spores itself, I mean, like, sensitivity.
Check that. That's a 5.
Oof. Yeah. So, again, like we see these motes, like, dance and move and twist in the light. And maybe we even see them, like, enter into the intake, the method of intake that Marybelle has for, you know, airflow, I know you don't breathe, but I mean, like, you get it. Tell me what that looks like as you start to feel these things, like possibly even clog or interrupt the signals in your system.
I think there is a mechanism that is similar to a fan somewhere inside of my body
Yeah.
that helps bring in air and push out air. And the real important thing that this mechanism does is keep me clear of dust and dirt. Because while I can clean my parts and my joints and I can remove some bits, I can't take my entire self apart. Or at least I've never tried. And so when some of those internal bits get dusty, that's what this fan is for. So I think what's happening as these spores come down, these motes, and I'm already covered in these invisible spores that you can't see anymore. They attach to each other. They kind of conglomerate in little mote spore cells. And it starts to become a barrier to the airflow. And not only that, it starts getting mucked up in the joints. And I think I start walking more stiff. And all of my movements are more stiff, not just in my joints, but in all of my parts inside.
I mean, you're going to experience more of this, like, stiffening until you become immobile, until somebody finds you or looks for you, or you can take a mask to mitigate the effect. I love
This is an impossible choice because I love the idea of having to wait for somebody to find me, and then we get the whole drama of what's going to happen with that.
Exactly.
But I also love marking a mask.
I mean, it's up to you. I mean, again, you have the possibility of either way, and it's still good, still wonderful. So yeah, it's really up to you. How do you want this to go?
Oh, and I do have a mask that puts a different threat into play. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. That'd be rude.
Come on, when have we ever minded any of that stuff? Come on now.
Oh, I marked. Hold on. My next mask of the past would be narrate a flashback to the time when you were bestowed the spark of life and the concern your creator showed over this development. Have I narrated that before?
Don't think so.
Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna mark a mask.
Okay.
For those listening, Rob just dared me to take Most Beloved again in chat. Tempting. Except I can't. It's still crossed off for me.
Oh, yes.
You're funny.
But it is tempting.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm going to mark a mask of the past.
Okay. Alrighty. Taking a mask. Oops. Mask of the past. Whoops. 7 to 9. Okay, so go ahead and narrate how you managed to mitigate the whole getting gluey, sticky orchid spores from collecting into the fan.
I think in this case, actually, I use my galvanic cardioverter. I see that these motes are drifting down like dust specks, and I can feel them collecting in my body through that intake and getting bunged up before they can go out the outtake. And I just realized that was a terrible word to use for that, but that's okay. And I think because my electric core that keeps my body operational, this doll part that I have, I think I'm able to manually, in some way, turn up the electrical components of it, and that burns out these spores, these pieces of dust, these motes, so that the air can pass through fully and filter out all of the bad stuff.
Change your condition to burnt spores. Or smell of burnt spores.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
Smell
must
of burnt
stink.
spores. Yep. Smell of burnt spores. Yep.
I don't think we've really talked about my sense of smell and if it exists, so.
Yeah, I think we tried to ask about it. It's like, you understand smell as a kinesthetic thing. Like it's not actual smell, it's more of it's like more tangible.
Tactile.
You can detect molecules of something in the air, right? But
Yeah.
not...
We said BO was like humidity.
Yeah. Nasty.
Nasty. All right. And with that, we're going to go over to Kemuel and Val over at Society Obscura. We're heading over to Society.
I thought Kemuel was going to the...
Oh, yeah, the conservatory.
Okay.
The conservatory. We're splitting up.
So, Kemuel, you head back over to the botanist conservatory, that chaotic mess of exotic plants, which is not only around, but also inside the place. And I don't think things have changed. If anything, the botanist is more of what you saw, where you saw like the blossoms, like, sprouting from their eyes and just being incredibly weird, but they're still moving. So think of this being very like a hybrid being now. You can still see like, the remnants of their clothes, but I mean, like, it's just think of a moving plant, basically.
Yeah, they'll wander towards the botanist,
Mm-hmm.
Looking closely. Can you hear us, child?
Slowly, like, you hear like a rustle creak as the blossom of their face like turns to you, and it's like the face is like, the hair is more like, kind of like the like wisps of, I don't know what the like the pistils of the flowers, I guess. And then like, the petals are more of like, the face folds, and then like their eyes are like mini blossoms within the face and such. And then you can sort of like get a sense of them talking, and you can sort of hear them in your head rather than actually hear them talk. And we rejoice in a new form, a new awakening. We germinate. The decaying dreams. Nothing truly dies, as it's animated in the same sparkling void. Void, branching out. Touch the light. Source. The true path. And he starts to reach for you with his blossom hands.
And they'll say, botanist, in your decaying dream, in your expanding void, is there room for your voice to speak of us? Where is your worship, child?
true path is onward through the endless shimmering green. Green. Green.
And they will take the outstretched hand with their left hand and say, if there is no room left for us in there, if you are not ours, what is the point of you? You are no one's. And they will take the lamp that they picked up from the table in the sitting room and smash it across the form of the botanist and strike a match.
Are you doing taketh away?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and read out that move, please.
It says, when you destroy a side character, physically, spiritually, or socially, describe how it makes you feel. Scar your reflection and roll with vitality. If the side character is a worshiper, there is no need to roll. Choose 3.
Which of those choices do you choose, since the botanist is a worshiper?
Yeah, I will choose to clear a condition.
Mm-hmm.
The plant passenger, I think, feels most appropriate for that.
Nice.
And should I do the smart thing or the stupid thing? I will take your next roll is taken with advantage, and there are no long-term consequences for your actions.
Okay. So given that last one, it's like, no one else notices, like, that this botanist is going to be missing. And just mark somewhere that you get, like, essentially, advantage forward for whatever next roll that you end up doing. Okay.
Oh, and I guess I scar my reflection too.
You do. Tell me how this is affecting you. Affecting your reflection.
Yeah, I think Kemuel feels angry that this worshiper has been taken from them. And at the same time, they're now their eyes are clear, like the green is gone, and they are aware of the emerald orchid, not as an object of beauty and desire, but as an enemy, as a potential challenger that must be destroyed. And I think cutting back to the room where the broadsheet is printed, we see the press pull back up, raised by the blind master printer, and we can see the impression, the printed face, where before there were green tinges to the ink. It now has an angry, dark, reddish brown flecks throughout the black ink. And around the illustration, the edges, it looks like the ink has just sort of started to bleed in, like the outside is encroaching toward that winged figure.
Heaven taketh away. What else do you want to do, here or out there?
Yeah, I think that they will stand and just watch the conservatory burn. Sort of see the fire reflected in their eyes and a smile as their corners of their lips curl up. And then just turn on their heel off to hopefully reunite with Valentine.
So heading to the society. Okay. Amazing. Okay. Val, you find yourself looking over at the Society Obscura. Basically, you find yourself in front of this again. It is a converted townhome in Kensington. All right. Yeah. Aside from a plaque, very discreet plaque that's like out on the door. I mean, on the gate. I mean, like, you really don't notice anything. Um, Anything really outstanding about it, you know? Could be anybody's townhouse.
I will step up and knock on the door with my bundle of broadsheets under my arm.
Ah, okay. How are you dressed?
I think Val is today dressed in a tweed suit, but one with a slightly old-fashioned, where it's like stockings and like trousers that come to the knee rather than full length. So, something that might look a little out of place in current and a tweed hat. So dressed for a day in the country in the late 1700s or something, rather than,
So, in response to your knock, you see, let's see, give me a second. Gotta think about this. Ah, okay. Yeah, in response to your knock, you see this kind of tall, wiry in a young man kind of way, but he's in a rather revealing costume of like furs, like kind of like a draped across one shoulder and bare for the most part, aside from the furs across one shoulder and like around his middle and bare legs and such. And he just kind of says, "Oh," and he kind of looks you up and down and says, I wish I had asked the Abernathys to get us one of those, one of the other period rooms just 100 years early, and this would be perfect. Ah, are you here for a photo session?
in a manner of speaking, I am. I am glad to say my acquaintance, Mr. Kemuel Robel, has become aware of the Society's photographic sessions, and after his recent conquest of the stage, wishes to offer himself as a subject. And with that, Val will hand a broadsheet showing a picture of Kemuel to this person.
Not bad, not bad. If the rest of the body is and just as good as the face, although this doesn't say as much, then there might be a chance. I'm Periwinkle, by the way.
You may call me Val, Periwinkle. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, pleasure to meet you too. If you don't mind, I'd like to take this to my employers and see if this is someone they would like to invite for a session. I could have you stay here in the foyer and have you stop for a few minutes while I go and ask. Is that all right?
By all means.
Right.
I shall make myself at home.
All right. So, don't wander off too much. All right. I can't have you like messing about with like some of the props that they've set up, because to be honest, I don't really know like which room they're going to use at any given point. They're supposed to do it by appointment, but sometimes they don't keep to a schedule. I do apologize. So I'll be right back. I believe they're in the Olympus room. Somebody wanted to play Helen, and another one wanted to play Paris. It's just a whole bloody mess. Anyway, I'll be back. Stop right here. And then, he'll show you to, like, one of those benches, like, that's in the foyer. And then, like, you could just take a seat. And then, like, he'll run upstairs. And, like, he has a very fetching behind that, like, kind of, like, sidles away in the furs. And, like, he'll head upstairs. And it's, like, when you get a look at it, like, like, from below, it's, like, this spiraling stair that just goes in, like, squares, like upward and upward, like almost never ending.
Does it appear that there are more stories to the house than it appeared from outside?
Indeed.
Interesting.
Indeed.
I think I will take off my jacket, make myself at home, and
you see you're in the foyer, and then you see down a hallway. There's several different doors, and then each of the doors have some kind of placard up above them with a name. Above them.
I think I will stroll down the corridor and take a look and see what I can see.
Yeah, there's rooms on either side, like the Jungle Room, or the American West Room, or the Maharaja's Palace Room.
When I saw the picture of Penelope, was she dressed and staged in any particular style?
She looked as if she was in a strange silvery garb. But I mean, like, when Kemuel was describing the picture, again, like, it looked like it was all layers of depth. So it was hard to tell. Like, as if you could fall into it, or like it was coming out. Like, it could almost look like, like 3D, right? But again, like, the cloth that they draped her in looked silvery or strange, not of this time. That sort of thing.
That was the thought that struck me. I suspect I might not find it on the ground floor, but I will take a look at any of the plaques and see if any of them are suggestive of the kind of scene that, or the costume that Penelope was wearing. If there's anything.
Not on this floor, no. I think you just see the three rooms. The Jungle Room, the American West, and the Maharaja's Palace. And of course, like, again, you've got the staircase going up, and then, like, of course, the different levels further up.
Then I think a little further investigation might be in order, but in order to do that, there might need to be two of me.
Yes? Tell me what you'd like to do, Val.
So I think, yes, as the Val that walked down the corridor to look at these three rooms returns, they see the Val that came into the door sitting in the foyer, waiting, and they exchange a nod. And one of them will remain sitting in the foyer, and one of them will head up to the first floor. But I believe in order to do that, I need to roll.
Okay. Which move is this?
This is a more fatigue, my core move.
Okay.
So, so I'm stepping. I think I'm stepping into the past by a few moments. So this is the. No, I'm not, am I? I'm stepping from the future because I think this is the Val that has already left, as it were, in the future, stepping back in time to accompany herself in once more. So this is a posteriori.
Okay.
So I have to roll, and then this move is kind of complicated.
And also too, because it's like if you are like stepping back, then there might be a complication. I will say off the top that you might have run into periwinkle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I roll with composure, which
Okay.
is 2. That's
Okay.
quite good. I'm just wondering if I have anything that I can use to gain an advantage here.
Yeah. I mean, like anything you can pull from a personal quarters, even if it's like a memory or something like that, to kind of boost your
Right.
like advantage. And while you're doing that, I just want to take a look at your.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to just go. I don't know. I could always use the naval uniform from the HMS Whippet. If Val is dressed in a naval uniform, they may be able to just kind of appear as though they're somebody that was there for one of the photo shoots that's ongoing, as opposed to the person that Periwinkle just let in, dressed in a tweed suit.
Okay.
Let's see what I can do with composure. Well, composure is 2 anyway, so this is
Okay.
very good. Oh, that's 7, 8, 9. Okay, that'll do.
Okay. 9. All right.
So let me just consult this move. I can use 2 effects by the end of the night.
Okay.
Or is this only? Oh no, this does work in the day. Yeah. So I can choose. Yeah, I can choose 2 effects by the end of this next night phase, and because I got a 7 to 9, the keeper chooses 1 complication.
All right. So let's take a look. See at this. A posteriori. Line before. Whoa. Let's see.
Yeah, I think the complications are all right at the bottom of the move.
Okay.
And the obvious effect that I'm trying for here is you may act in 2 places at once.
Okay. All right. Cool. And then I pick one of those complications. Alrighty.
Or I'm sure you could just make one.
Not the only one who made the sojourn through time, huh? Okay, we'll see. Let's see.
You can always spring the condition on me later, I guess.
I could. I could. All right. So yeah, go ahead and describe to me, like, what you do, like, through this move in terms of acting.
Yeah, so I think after Val has left the society, they return, but earlier, so that the Val who is sitting waiting for Periwinkle to return is sitting waiting for Periwinkle to return. But there is another Val dressed in the naval uniform who who can go up to the first floor and try to do a little light investigation.
Okey-doke. So you're acting in 2 places at once.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing the asking me one of those questions as your second thing? Because you can ask me 2. You can do 2 effects.
Yes. I think, yeah, I can ask one of the following questions. What really happens or happened here? So I think perhaps I want to discreetly follow Periwinkle and see what is going on with the people he's reporting to, if I can at once be waiting for him in the lobby and be sneaking around the house.
So, what really happened, or
What really happens? Like, what is going on? What are they doing here? What is, because
okay,
this isn't just photography, there's more to it.
you're gonna see if your other self is truly going to be like a time slip and then following Periwinkle as your way of finding
Mm,
out what really happened, you're going to see that he's going to go ask his bosses about, Kemuel and like if this is going to be worthy and all this kind of stuff. But you're going to see one of the rooms that they're in, and this room has plastered in it. Give me a second. Can I make this adjustment? I can't see. This is a very strange tableau. It is a scene. It is one of their photo shoots. But behind them, the backdrop is where it looks like this gigantic scroll that kind of like gives the impression that they were able to do this process even before the wet plate, even before the camera, that they were able to do this particular process even before the actual cameras were around. This particular camera existed.
mm. So this camera predates the
Predates.
invention of the camera.
Correct. And you see it in a scroll that kind of depicts it all.
Mm.
I think automatically you're going to see who's somebody from your past. Or actually your
Wow.
future. Like posteriori moves from the future, yeah?
Yeah, I've come back to this time from the future.
Okay.
Yeah, the future being like an hour or so from now.
Okay. But I mean, like, just from any point of Val's future, who from your future do you not want to see?
Let's see. Like how far in the future? Anytime?
Anytime.
All my masks that I've done so far. Perhaps there was the there was the woman that Valentine was trying to convince to come and live with her in 1933. I think that would be an uncomfortable re-encounter if it happened 60 something years in the past. Is that the kind of thing you were looking for? Or
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
her name was Isabel Russell,
Okay.
who was I think we can imagine was Val's lover at some point, but perhaps Val was more serious about it than Isabel was. Or not serious, but she turned Val down in the end. And that's when we saw Val abandon the house that she had been renovating,
Hmm.
the family home.
All right. I'll still go to Kemuel because, like, you maybe by this point, it's like you've made it over to the nondescript um, Society Obscura. Knock, do you?
They will, certain that they are at the right place, they will open the door and walk in, or attempt to, at any rate.
I mean, you'll see, like, a Val sitting there.
Ah, excellent timing. Hello, Valentine.
Kemuel, I didn't expect you so soon. I
My
had just introduced you, and a gentleman in an outfit I think you might appreciate has gone to see if they may be interested in taking your photograph.
delightful. Sure. We're sure that they'll answer in the affirmative. Thank you, Valentine.
And how was your morning thus far, Mr. Robel?
Ah, beautiful. Warm and beautiful. Our errand didn't take long, but it was most satisfying.
So do you two do any kind of extra investigating while like Val number 2 is upstairs or anything?
I think I'll say to Kemuel that it appears that they have various rooms staged for different time periods, different settings. I was attempting to see if I could find out which one Penelope may have been photographed in, although there wasn't a lot to go on in the photograph.
There did not seem to be, no. Different rooms, and different times. Delightful.
Yes, it does seem a curiously familiar arrangement.
Yes. You are probably quite comfortable stepping into one of these rooms, I expect.
I'm not sure that such an adjustment in one's life is ever a comfortable experience, Kemuel.
Perhaps not. But isn't comfortable just another word for boring, tedious, mundane? I think we can do much better than comfortable. Can't we, Valentine? And I think they'll just start wandering into the society. Waiting rooms are not for Kemuel.
So again, like there's 3 rooms on the ground floor: the Jungle Room, the American West Room, and the Maharaja's Palace Room. And then like there's levels further up, of course. Yeah, rooms that you haven't seen yet. So um just a matter of like information move.
Yes, I think they would probably be most interested in the Maharaja's Palace Room.
Okay.
So perhaps they wander in there and take a lengthy look around.
It is a room in the Society's townhouse used for artistic photography, of course. It's decorated to look like a Maharaja's palace. So paint the scene for everyone. This room is wildly colorful, but the camera can never capture it. Describe something particularly vivid that people in the future will not be able to properly appreciate in black and white.
I think there's a part of the decoration on the wall. I think the wall is all kind of rich, incredibly textured wallpaper, very colorful, depicting kind of jungle, um, foliage, but also with the colors in one particular place, it like hints at a tiger being, hidden behind the foliage. Its stripes blending with the branches and leaves of plants. But of course, you wouldn't be able to see that it was there at all in black and white because the orange would not be evident.
I think the fabrics in the room are likewise very intricate, when you see them in person, the threads are various colors, like a menagerie of colors of greens and blues and orange and yellow and pink, every color you can imagine threaded very, very specifically and delicately through each other. But in black and white, it just looks like shades of gray.
And there are multiple, they're just fake since it's a trompe l'oeil set, but there's multiple columns that are wound with what's meant to be like ivy or some sort of growing plant. It's clearly, though, cloth. It's set dressing, and it is this video game Saturday morning cartoon bright green wrapping around. No one in the future looking at this picture in black and white would appreciate the garish, bizarre green of this ivy.
Yeah. So you see these columns and the sumptuous fabric and the decoration, the decorative wallpaper. Maybe there's also some cushions here to try to conveniently sprawl, but of course they can't because, I mean, that would ruin the costuming or whatever. What do you do?
I think that they will wander forward, looking in the cracks and crevices, perhaps carefully inspecting the wallpaper, feeling the texture of the sumptuous fabric, taking note of the dichotomy between the rich feel of the fabric and the intricate pattern in the wallpaper and the chintzy, cheap, fake ivy, and wonder whether the budget ran short or something. But looking in kind of all the little cracks and crevices to see if any of the previous participants in a photo shoot here perhaps left anything behind, any trace of who might have once strode through this room.
Information move, please, with
Okay.
reason.
Reason. Well, I gotta learn to set up these information moves with a different stack. I always forget that reason is -1, but my next roll is taken with advantage.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
okay. That is still, oh my gosh, that is still just a 4.
Oh boy. With advantage, but still a 4. Okay. Oh, goodness, oh gracious. Interesting. I think as you're poking around, Kemuel, especially here in the Society Obscura, I think your touch will awaken something in this place. You feel some kind of thrumming underneath your hand. You feel some kind of familiarity with this. Do you remember what it felt like when the shadows, the twilight, kissed you among your robes during the performance? It is that kind of embrace that you feel under your hand, here, thrumming, humming at you. And it's close. All you have to do is come further, explore more around this place, come higher. You hear this presence asking you to come upward.
Upward sounds like a capital idea. Onward and upward.
I think in your mind's eye, you sense this entity reaching out to, to embrace you again, even as you're making your way without even seeing, towards the stairs, like, trying to get up further through the society. And Val, you see this. It's like, Kemuel's not paying any attention to you anymore. They're leaving the Maharaja Palace room and heading to the stairs, heading upstairs.
Do you think that's wise, Kemuel?
They just continue on.
I think Val rolls their eyes and sits back to wait.
How long does the effect last for you acting in two places at once? This goes until like night phase?
Yeah, I don't think it specifies. I think
Cool.
it can be, yeah.
Yeah, so Val 2 can can continue onward. Again, I'm not going to, pull anything until later. So I will allow Val 2 to do something else before I go on to Marybelle. Or Val 1. Whichever one wants to act at the moment.
I think Val 1 will continue to wait, but Val 2, having found this scroll describing the camera, I think I would like to try to, this hunch I have that the particular room may have some relevance. I would like to look at the plaques on the various rooms.
Yeah, you're gonna
see if I can identify one that may just trigger something in my mind that makes me think it looks like it could be the theme from the photograph.
Sure. Like you see like another one like could be the Inca room. You see another one that could be the Mesozoic room, whatever. It's like, whatever they can pull out of an encyclopedia, that's what they've got. But you do see one that says the astral plane room.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, let's take a look in there.
That's kind of like in the mid-level, right? So not neither the first floor nor the topmost floor, but like somewhere in the middle. All right.
Yeah, let's see if I can slip inside there unobserved. Close the door behind me.
Yeah, you don't see a sign of periwinkle yet, but I mean, yeah. It's a strange room. It's painted in dreamy grays and silvers. And this is another paint the scene, of course. There are objects arranged all over that seem to be from another world or time. Describe one. Another world or another time.
There's a large crystal vase filled to the very brim with fine-grained sand, but the sand is bright purple.
I think there's a curious sort of what presumably is a costume that is a kind of a bulky one-piece white and silver suit that looks very heavily padded, and sitting next to it is something that looks rather like a diving bell helmet, but the face is glass and the body of it is white.
Oh, for
Val might
funsies.
have seen such a thing before. The others probably have not.
Right. For funsies, I'll add one. I think you see some kind of bowl. It's an obsidian bowl, and it looks like there is something burning within it. But if you get close, even if you get like close and put, a hand or what have you on top of it, the flame does not burn. It does not feel like any temperature whatsoever. Okay. So, what do you want to do here in the astral plane room?
I want to see if I can find. Well, I'm curious if I can recognize the one thing that was somewhat clear in the photo was the silvery costume that Penelope was wearing. Can I see that in evidence anywhere?
You don't see it as a per se costume, but you do see like drapery that looks a lot like it.
Mm. So she may have just had that draped across her. Interesting.
There's like swaths of it.
When I feel it, if I rub some of this fabric between my fingers, might I be able to recognize what kind of fabric it is? Does it feel familiar? Does it?
I mean, given your time travel, do you think it is?
I think because Val is also something of at times, uh, enjoys costume and dress and outfits, they might have some familiarity with tailoring and fabrics, and yeah, but certainly if it's something atemporal that shouldn't be here, that might jump out at me.
I don't remember what the fabric's called, so I'm not actually sure if it is. I mean, kind of tissue like, but it's also got a silvery sheen to it. So I mean, it probably could be like atemporal. So, but if you'd like to look at anything else or look around for anything else in this room, like you'd have to do an information move. Tulle I always associate with ballerina skirts, so it's more of like that stiff mesh, and it's not that.
Oh yeah, I know the stuff you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea when that was invented or. What am I rolling with for an information? I guess this is kind of reason-y, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much still reason, yeah. Unless you can parlay something that like you're stronger in. I mean, like,
I mean, the only other thing that would make any sense would be sensitivity, and I'm not sure I'm doing that kind of investigation, so I'll go with reason.
Okay.
Oh, that's a 0. Wonderful. I got a 9.
Okay. Hey, 9's still good. Just complicated. So you're looking around among these objects here in the room?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in particular I'm looking for. I was interested to see that, I might have been on the right track, that this is the right room the photograph was taken in, but then yeah, like beyond that, it's just general. Does anything stand out to me? Does anything look unusual? Does anything catch my eye?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I think as you're looking at the fabric even, you're feeling it, you're like trying to test it, you're trying to see if it's something that you remember, you recognize, I mean, especially, given your history, and I use history loosely because of the way you are. I think you turn it over, like you look amongst its folds, you turn it over and such, and you'll find something very odd. you find a complex mathematical equation.
Mm.
And it's like it's a string. It's like formulae. And it's like it's among like the edge. It's almost like if it was like, stitched seaming, like it would be along the edge. Like
Mm.
for a while. Like on the swath of this particular like shiny silvery fabric. Yeah, say that 3 times fast. Okay, so complex mathematical equation found in this very unusual place. All right. And your complication is, I think you start to hear voices coming down the stairs. And it sounds like Periwinkle, and Periwinkle is not alone. And I think at
Well,
this...
I don't think they'd have any reason to look for me in here. But just in case, I will. There's a lot of this fabric. I'll just hide underneath it.
Okay. Hiding underneath fabric. Okay. With that case, I'm going to switch over to Marybelle. Marybelle, like, you've managed to burn most of the spores that from sticking to your fan and then stopping you from being mobile. But now you have the sensation of the burning. Like, so to anyone else, it smells like that burnt sensation of burnt flowers or burnt pollen.
Hair.
Burnt hair, burnt pollen. Yeah.
Burnt grass is nasty.
Yeah. But like, to you, what do you think like Marybelle senses it as?
I think it
smell?
feels like a dullness. If her insides are shined up, sort of like her ringlets of this ultrafine copper. I mean, aside from the fact that she has her name scratched into the inside of her face, if her insides are shined up, I think it just feels like a dullness, like there's something almost buffed away inside of them. And yeah, I don't think they can smell anything. There's no real sense of smell, but it has a weird feeling, and there is a weird sensation.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like how that would translate.
Well, I already have the conditioned smell of burnt spores.
Yeah. But I also feel like it's like also kind of like it's manifesting as like, how like you have to scrape like burnt bits. Like,
yeah, off of like a tin thing.
Yeah,
I get
something
that.
like
Yeah.
that. It's not rust. It's burnt. It's like burnt bits. I don't know how to describe
Like
that, but
cast iron seasoning, but the bad kind.
but the bad kind, exactly. It's that nasty
on your
shit
insides.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
nasty shit. Yeah. Just don't know how to describe that. So smell
Yeah,
of
I'll
burnt
think about
spores
it.
it is
I'll
for
think about it, and we'll see what I'm sure we can come up with something.
Exactly. Okay. So anyway, you're in this house and you're just like,
Yeah. Well, as far as I know, I mean, I'm not feeling great, but at least I can move without a lot of stiffness.
But you do
and as
see,
far as I know, there's an emerald orchid in here.
you thought there was an emerald orchid in there, but you do see that there is a hold on, come on, getting back to the thread. You do see that there is a flyer, like an advertisement for for the Lavender Terrace, and it's like an invitation to bring over your own orchids, so this way the orchids can, bring over your pet orchid, and then
Proliferate.
proliferate and meet your friends, meet new friends, that kind of thing.
Like when you socialize a dog.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh no. Oh dear.
So, looks like there's been a social. There's been an orchid social that's been organized over at the
Well,
Lavender Terrace.
I'm gonna snag that flyer or whatever.
Mhm.
But I know that there has been an emerald orchid in this building.
Yes.
And I think I would like to use my doll part move,
Mm-hmm.
the one that comes with my spectrographic optic sensors.
Mm-hmm.
Once per session, when you enter a location for the first time, you can declare there is a hidden door undetectable to the human eye.
Nice.
Roll with sensitivity to determine what's behind it. And on a hit, I have some stuff to choose. On a miss, the secret chamber will be empty or worse, filled with a danger from an active threat. So,
Do we dare?
Yeah.
we do it.
we do dare.
We do dare. Love it.
Of
Oh
course
my
we
God.
dare.
What a great move. Thank you, Jack.
Jack, you're great. Props to Jack.
Props to Jack. Okay.
All right, rolling with sensitivity. Oh, trophy dice, are you coming through for me? Yeah, that's a 10.
Oh, nice. Okay. I do
On
declare.
a 10, I choose two things.
What do you get?
On a choose, I can choose between, and I'm just going to read them all out so the listeners can know.
Okay.
The options are a passageway to another location, a clue to an active threat, and the keeper
Okay.
can describe it,
Yep.
a corpse clutching something valuable, describe it and add it to your personal quarters, or an animal who inhabits the secret space, and when I interrogate it for information about the location, I can make it an information move with advantage.
Nice. What do you choose? There's like so many good choices.
I know, I get to choose two, which is
Mhm.
lovely. So I
Mhm.
think I'm going to choose a clue to an active threat. And I think a corpse is going to be in that room because that's hilarious.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to have something valuable that I can add to my personal quarters.
Okay.
I will let you describe the clue so that I can kind of theme the corpse around that a bit.
Okay, what's the it doesn't specify what threat you.
Nope, to an active threat. It doesn't necessarily have to be the one I'm investigating currently.
Right. I'd prefer it not be. I think it would be cute if it was something else. So, which one
I
of
love
the
combining threats.
I know,
Yeah.
me too. What's the active threat you wanna clue on?
Oh, I get to choose? That's
Yeah.
cute. Let's do spider silk seamstress. I
Yeah.
feel like combining these would be really interesting.
Yep, absolutely. And this would be in the hidden door, the hidden closet, hidden door thing, yeah?
Yeah, there's a hidden door to a secret location in this place that only I can see because I'm awesome at seeing stuff with my weird eyes.
Okay. Alrighty, cool. Alright, I think this is appropriate. And you can even say that this is something that, like, another thing that the corpse is holding if you want, okay? So, what you see when you discover what you discover is that you find from a local apothecary. Oops, helps be in the right threat. Okay. You find a letter of apology. I am sorry, but this particular rare and unusual ingredient is no longer available. I have tried all of my sources, and it is not anywhere to be found. And it is this letter of apology from this apothecary. Yep.
I like that. I think, yeah, I do find a corpse in. I think it's just like almost like a secret door in the floorboards, and it's very, very cleverly concealed. There's barely any dust between the floorboards where there's no real outline, but I happened to spot it, and I was able to get my little mechanical fingers underneath and twist it up, and I could see down the stairs, and I think it's just a tiny little cellar, and in it scrunched up against a corner. There's nothing else in this room, is a corpse. And in its hands, it's clutching this letter. And I think in another hand, it is clutching a locket, a silver locket. And I can see, if you'll allow me, the corpse is the corpse of a side character from the Emerald Orchid. Someone we know, someone I've either met or has been described to me. Perhaps, I mean, since it's her house, it might be Laurel Bentley, but it might not be.
It's Laurel Bentley. It's fine.
Yeah, it's her.
Oh God.
And I think when I pry the little silver locket out of her stiff, cold hand, I flip it open, and on one side it's a picture of a young child that looks a lot like Laurel Bentley. And the other side, you can tell that the picture has been torn out. There was something there, but it's been torn out. So the clue, I suppose, is a torn photo out of a locket.
Okay.
Or a locket with a torn photo. Makes more sense because I don't have the photo. Yeah.
It's fine. With that, we've got Kemuel, who is chasing shadows, literally, boy. And then we've got Val 2 hiding, Val 1 waiting, and then we've got Marybelle, who is found some great stuff. And that is where we're going to end day phase for right now, and we're going to go on to next session with another day, like further on day phase, get Damon back in here, god dang it, and see. Oh my god. Oh god. And yeah, continue onward. Wow. Ramping up, I'll tell you. Ramping up. Okay. So, stars and wishes. Hold on. So many great things this session. I mean, and I have to spring the thing onto to Val. You know what? I'll do that as part of my stinger. So, remind me before we leave. I got to do that stinger. So don't let me forget before we leave. Okay? But yeah. So my stars are Val being extremely evil sounding, like when Kemuel comes to Kensington to Society Obscura, and it's like that whole paving the way for me, and just it's like, yes, like as if getting to the Society Obscura, and it's like, I like getting my picture taken for this. It's like, yeah, it's like, this is my due, this is my moment, this is of course this is going to happen, that sort of thing. I mean, it's just so damn delicious. It's great. And then just being able to see Marybelle highlighted for this one, all the parts, all the things, for this particular session was wonderful. So star for that. And then Val, I mean, again, great use of your move, and then just poking around Society Obscura is just always so much fun. So I can't wait to pull that shit on you for later. It's and time travel and the void is just a great mix, and so I'm going to have some fun with this. It's going to be great. Yeah. Oh, and then brilliant pick for finding a corpse in Laura Bentley's house, including it being Laurel Bentley. I love it. And Kemuel, amazing callback for the vulnerable move. Amazing. It's lovely. Just lovely. Okay. That's it. I'm not even going to mention wishes because too many. I love it all. I mean, I'm just here to play because you guys just always come up with wonderful ideas, and I'm just here to have popcorn. So.
I mean, I have very, very similar stars. Looking at my notes now, Mads having Val Squire being named Noble was just delicious. That's so fun. For anyone listening that doesn't know, the very first game that Mads and Rob and I played together, Rob was the factotum in the between to Dr. Noble, Maz is the mother. So having a character named Noble as a sort of servant to Rob's character, I don't know, it just feels like very full circle, and I like that a lot. I really liked that very first scene that was trying, but not really trying, to be a vulnerable scene with Kemuel and Val, and how much they were very politely, well, mostly on Valentine's side, butting heads. They're just so very different. And I really loved it. And then Marybelle coming in, I came in because I wanted to extend that scene a little bit more, and I wanted to cause a little bit more drama and butting heads because it was so good. But it was a really good triptych of these three characters, their way of interacting with the world and their goals in how they want to investigate the problems in Hargrave House. You know, Valentine with very honorable, we help because that's the right thing to do. Marybelle with the, this is interesting, is it not? Or this is the right thing to do according to the rules that I have learned. And Kemuel with, yeah, we can go investigate this, and I'm going to get a beautiful portrait of myself. And even if we don't find out anything, I'm still going to get a beautiful portrait of myself, which, to be fair, that makes sense. You know, you can't really judge Kemuel on that. So I really loved all of that. I loved all of this. This is for Mads, and also for all of the paint the scenes and stuff. But the scene setting in the Society Obscura was really, really good. I mean, I know that this threat has so many wonderful paint to scene prompts, but Mads, you ran with them really, and this was a really fantastic paint the scene kind of session from the keeper's side, definitely. I really loved how you were kind of luxuriating in the scenes and luxuriating in how all of the characters were playing off of each other and bouncing off of it. You were really in your moment. You could tell you were having fun. I mean, you're always having fun, but it's just really nice to see. I really loved Mark's description of the printing press changing in the one describe how your masterpiece gets marked. With the obsidian and the scratching and the blood mixing with the ink. Oh, that was good. That was real good. And it really goes to show when you think about how Kemuel has been in the last session or two, it feels like this progression being reflected in this masterwork, and I really liked it. Rob, I mean, the two vowels thing was a brilliant choice. Bonkers, madness, love it. Absolute batshit choice, and I'm so here to see what's gonna happen. Like, what are you gonna do with do you stop being two vowels, or does one die, or does one go into the future or the past? I don't know what's gonna happen there. So that's my wish, to see what's gonna happen with other Val. Maybe your other Val now. I don't know. Time is weird. I also really I thought your idea of investigating how the fabric feels was brilliant. You know, because how a fabric feels on your hands and how different fabrics change over time. That is absolutely something Valentine would know, and it was not something I thought of at all. So that was really inspired. So stars for that. That was really cool. And that's it. That's me.
Yeah, I star for like Mads, I think, and but everyone really of there seems to be these interesting connections now, but getting established between some of the threats. Like we have the connection of Atticus Whately. Like I picked up that clue from the King in Shadows, and then like obviously Mads had like remembered that I had that and was looking into it, and that was the prompt for introducing the weighted camera, so that's really cool. And then we had the interesting way that like Marybelle then brought in the side character from a different thread to show up dead in this place. And yeah, there was a lot of really fun stuff going on today with Kemuel, like burning down the plant nursery was crazy. Like how do we resolve that threat now? It's so interesting. Like how are we gonna get an answer to that with Kemuel just like going around setting things on fire when nobody's looking? It's that's going to be really interesting. And
just to interject, I feel like undeniable setting fire on things is a trait.
Yeah.
That it should be part of the
Totally, yeah.
playbook now.
Yeah, and yeah, and I really liked the tension we had in that kind of would-be vulnerable scene between Kemuel and Val, because I think like that skull came out, and like I think if Kemuel had been more explicit, just even a tiny bit, like Val would have had to do something, right? And I was like ready to, like, if you're going to push it that far, we'll do it, because I would have to. But it's just this tension that's like, it's all suspicion in Val's mind about what's going on, and especially given the stuff that we've seen, like from Kemuel's masks. It's just what that implies about his character. And wow, yeah, I like when we start. I remember like 10 sessions ago, whenever I joined this campaign, like my first thought was like, oh, Kemuel was like a literal biblical angel, and now I'm like, oh, I was like so far off the mark with that idea. He's something very different indeed. Or they are, excuse me. And yeah, I definitely think that I'm really enjoying Amanda leaning into the craziness of that playbook. And I don't know, there's something really interesting about Marybelle being off on her own, or on their own. Like how, yeah, seeing Marybelle trying to navigate any kind of situation where there's like not one of the others with us there to like paper over any of her peculiarities with other, when it comes to interacting with other people. Not that they have yet in this particular scenario, but it's going to happen, I'm sure. And so that's really interesting. And yeah, Big Wish, I'm like really fascinated to see what Mads has got in store for like this character from a mask of mine that I did like 3 or 4 sessions ago, and like how, and was quite a kind of melodramatic and sad mask. Like how that's going to come into the story is, wow. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to wreck Val, I think, completely.
Not to be too excited about your character getting wrecked, but I'm pretty excited.
That's what we're all here for, is to drive these characters off a cliff, right? So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess I'm just echoing almost everything that's already been said. But yeah, Rob, I also really enjoyed all the interactions between Kemuel and Valentine. And I'm so excited to see how that progresses. I loved too the sort of attitude that Valentine had of when they were introducing the concept to Periwinkle. I think you said something like, I'm glad to say acquaintance, like just being like really over Kemuel's nonsense. Was fun. Star, just general star for the amazing moves on those 2 alternate playbooks, and to Rob and Amanda for throwing them into play at such exciting and opportune points. That was like, what other game can you see stuff like that in? It was amazing. I also really, Amanda, I really loved the moment of Marybelle slamming the door in Noble's face mid-sentence. Very fun. It's such a great, totally in keeping with her character or their character. You and Mads both playing back and forth the description of the spore or the fan and the spores infiltrating and melding and gumming everything up. That was like so vivid. Mads, awesome. You're really continuing each of these sessions to show like this like master level keeper moves. Like the palette of threats just generally for this whole campaign has been so amazing and weird, and they've all interacted in such strange ways. And it was a really fun introduction to the Whately camera, taking a little different perspective on that. And all of the sort of these sort of treacherous little questions that you throw out to everybody lead to such interesting places. And I really thought it was an awesome close because it's such a fraught situation. Like Kemuel's wandering off following this voice. Valentine, one of the Valentines, is literally hiding under the sheets. And Marybelle's just discovered this, corpse in this little cellar. Like it's exactly where the episode would cut. So just very fun. I guess the big wish too is to see Damon Gray injected back into this madness. So very excited to see that.
I mentioned this in chat very early on in this session, but I am excited to see what Damon's response is to the skull in the sitting room, the reception room at Hargrave House is going to be. Also, huge star for that whole bit with the skull in the reception room. That was nuts. I loved it.
I mean, I welcome weird. You guys know this, But Mark, I mean, welcome to the fold, But I mean, as soon as you said, it's like, well, it's kind of weird. I'm like, come on, man, come on, I welcome that. It's awesome. So, yeah, you're on brand. It's all good. It's all awesome. We totally welcome it for sure. But I will say that, and if you don't like it, we can totally X this out. I will totally edit this out. We don't need to do it. It's fine. But this is what's happening outside of the ending of the hunter scenes. So I think in this theater, dimly lit for right now, where we see the hint of strings and figures and controls and curtains, there is a spotlight shed on the figure we know as Mari, and a disembodied voice will call out to her, saying, "You know what you have to do. You have your orders." And she is there, standing demurely, her dress, not a single fold, not a single thread out of place. She is looking down, hands in front of her folded, and she just takes her skirts and curtsies and assents, yes, with a nod. And she will go upstage, and she will go to one of the sets, and she will pull it out. It seems to be of a scene that is not of this particular time and place. Although, who knows what time and place it is. It is of a sunnier place, perhaps. And there seems to be a figure attached to it, as if part of the scene itself. And it would be somebody quite familiar to Val, if Val was there to identify it. And Mari will take down the figure, move the strings. But even as she moves the strings, the figure will start to move of its own accord. And even as it looks as if it is its own puppet, the lines disappear, the strings go invisible, and it turns into an actual person. And the figure of Isabel Russell stands before Mari and says, "I think that's a good idea. I mean, I'm here to just make a visit. I mean, do you think, I mean, what do you like to do? Would you like to go out and have some dinner sometime?" And then Mari just looks at her underneath her lowered eyelashes and then looks up and then says with a smile, Yes, I would like that." And that's where we close the scene. Have a wonderful week, y'all. Happy gaming for anything else that you do. I will see you next week. Once this converts, I will post it in our Discord chat, and hopefully Jeremy will get a chance to watch the crazy, because it's a lot of crazy for this particular session. And yeah.
I don't envy him having to come into this, the middle
Yeah,
of
it's
the
like,
situation.
what the hell happened?
It's
That's what.
also kind of fun coming into it blind, to be fair.
Yeah,
There is something to be said about that.
that's true too. But I mean, like, I'm like, how many times is like, we have said, it's like, so what happened? Like, what happened in the last session? Sorry, didn't have any time to watch it. It's like, what happened? Come on, like, somebody's got to do him the favor, right? Try to explain it. Okay. So again, have a wonderful week, or a better week if you can't have a wonderful week. And then I will see you next time. See you guys. Bye.